आणि याच्यामध्ये अनेक ब्रांचेस आहेत. सो दिस इज अ इंट्रोडक्शनरी टॉक आणि याच्यामध्ये काय काय ऑप्शन्स आहेत, काय काय भविष्यात तुम्ही करू शकता, तुम्ही या लोकांशी बोलू. ठीक आहे.
हो सर, अगदी बरोबर आहे.
येस. तर मग मला सांगा कधी सुरू करायचं. आय एम रेडी. नो प्रॉब्लेम. थँक्यू.
हो, एक 5 मिनिट
काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही. नो प्रॉब्लेम.
मोकळी
माझी घंटी जवळ जवळ बसले का सर, त्यामुळे तुझे प्रॉब्लेम येतो फोनला.
अच्छा, हा.
तुम्ही दोघे जण जर जवळ बसलात ना, दोघं जण तुम्ही याच्यामध्ये काय काय ऑप्शन्स आहेत, काय काय भविष्यात करू शकता, तुम्ही त्या लोकांशी बोलू. ठीक आहे.
हो सर.
येस. तर मग मला सांगा कधी सुरू करायचं. आय एम रेडी.
हो चालेल. 5 मिनिट. थँक्यू.
ओके सर. थँक्यू. आय विल वेट फॉर युअर रिसिव्ह.
करू का ॲडमिट ऑल. ते ऑन केलं ना असं काहीतरी होतं. यूट्यूब लाईव्ह तुम्ही ऑन केलं काय? त्याचा आवाज येत असं, त्याचा आवाज येत. ते ऑफ करा सर, यूट्यूब लाईव्ह ऑफ करा.
என்ன சஞ்சு? ம். ஐயோ. என்ன பண்ண?
புரியுதா?
டாடி ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸ் இது கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் தெரியல ஒரு நிமிஷம்.
आहे 40 आहे सर.
कितना टाइम में लेक्चर चालू होने को?
हो.
हॅलो,
त्यांचं झालं. पुस्तकं नाही असं प्रेझेंट करू नका आणि व्हिडिओ आणि होतं.
Sorry.
करा fill करा.
Hello, welcome all the participants of webinar on sustainable agriculture opportunity days. I would like to thank all the participants for present here from all over India, all the states of India, and major India. I would like to thank all management members of the principal of the college,
कितना टाइम है
particularly
लेक्चर चालू होने को?
one request to all the participants is to do present page of button that is present now. Some of the students accident immediately and students all the participants are immediately marked on page 6 presentation. Dear participants, we know that agriculture is the most India is on agriculture directly. And so it is very important for the economic and social development important to the sustainable agriculture is farming essential. It means it's meeting its agricultural and textile needs without compromising the character or future generations. This type of agriculture particularly the trend line that leads for the food production and here participants are saying organic food. The award by the prestigious
Agriculture and we all are delighted because basically we are basically from an agricultural background working in the field of organic agriculture. I'm working for almost last 20 years, 20 plus years. We have actually, we had a green revolution in 1965 and you all know that agriculture is the basically, since this is the first course given by, Dadasaheb Pitre College, they have come up with. So we would like to present the same to all of you. Avinash sir, should we?
We are also very to all the participants who have taken off the time right in the middle of the day. It's almost 12 noon. And all the participants, I can see the age group of the participants is varied, right from young students to adults. To all the participants, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And, we would like to start this session. And Dharmesh sir, you can coordinate it. We can then take it up further.
Just a minute, I'm trying to share my presentation. Just a minute.
Can we request everybody for muting this mic? I think you have done it.
Yeah, one another request to participant is to do all the participants are requested to mute their mic.
Microphone, so as
Yeah, all the participants are requested to mute their microphones, please. Security Patil madam, please mute yourself.
Majority of the Indian population is having an area, or agriculture population is having 1 acre or less. So what is happening is these farmers are forced to go for some other activities, like Manrega scheme is going on, or they are doing poultry business, or they are having dairy business. That is how they are sustaining. This is the reality of our agriculture.
The issue is cost of inputs after the green revolution has gone up, and there we are not managing to make up our profits in the field of agriculture. That is why people are running out of this particular segment, and everyone is moving towards a city like Pune or Mumbai, and the way of life, they are just going there, working whatever work they can get, and there is no, a lot of people, majority of the villages, nobody is there. Rather than the old population is being there, and the youngsters are going forward to do any kind of a job in cities like Pune or Mumbai. So that is not a great scene. Looking forward, we should be able to develop these villages. There was a scheme by the Honorable Prime Minister for 100 smart cities. So we were just thinking, the agriculturists or maybe a kind of tribe or organic tribe, we were thinking about developing 100 villages rather than 100 smart cities. So that should be the way forward for the nation. Third is small translates into less. That's what Avinash sir was talking about. Majority of the 80% of the farmers in India, they are having a small acreage, and there they are not managing the whole their exercise of day-to-day life. So that is what the situation is. So they really need to add some kind of additional, what you can say, they need to create a little bit additional source of income, like dairy or maybe poultry as a supporting business for agriculture industry. Anything from your side, sir, on this?
No, sir. You can continue. Next.
Okay, no problem. So there is an issue where we can really get these people into the mainstream. They can really work on the dairy or small poultry or maybe a goat farming, and they can help themselves as an additional income source for this particular segment. Whereas 80% people are less than 2 acres of land. After this freedom, we got this. Actually, we were working on the agriculture segment. We have ancient Ayurveda. We have an ancient agriculturist. It's called as Vriksha Ayurveda, Krushi Parashar. So a lot of things, a lot of books are there. We have a great history of 5,000 years. But after the freedom, we were growing at a very high speed. And then after that, how we are going to feed your population? So we have accepted Green Revolution in 1965. So Avinash sir, quick comment on this particular graph.
Friends, what you can see here is the blue bars are the population of the developed nations. Developed nations, which we so-called call as the European countries, Australia, then America. These are the developed nations. Now, if you see their bar, it is stagnant. Since 1950 to 2020, we still see the population has not grown up. But the developed nations, these are the countries where the population is shot up, and that is putting a lot of pressure on these countries. That is the agriculture pressure as well as economic pressure. So basically what I wanted our young generation to see, the students who have joined us, is this is what we have inherited. And if you see the bars going up to 2050, the population of developed nations are still going to remain stagnant, or it might go down, unlike the developing nations, that is Africa, Asia, and South America. These are the 3 parts of the world where the population is going up, and most of these population is depending on agriculture. Next.
Okay, coming back to the history of fertilizer, since everybody has joined for this particular meeting, and we shall be talking about sustainability, organic agriculture, natural farming, and the college is also coming up with this fantastic course. So let's have a quick look at the history of the chemical industry. You must be knowing this German scientist Justus von Liebig. He is known as the father of chemical fertilizers. He suggested that chemical fertilizers should be applied to the plants. We should give them the support by applying this urea fertilizer or maybe nitrogenous fertilizer from outside, so that they can really take this nutrition and they can grow themselves, and we will be able to get fantastic yields. That was the basic idea of Justus von Liebig. Anything else, Avinash sir, you want to comment on this?
And this will, I think so, the students will be studying it, but there is some members of the fraternity, agriculture fraternity. Basically, Liebig did an NPK revolution that time, because he just took the dry matter of the crop residue, he burned it and then analyzed it, and after the analysis he found what was nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium in the dry matter, and that much amount of fertilizer has to be replaced, because that much of dry matter comes out of the soil, that much has to be applied. So that is how he framed it. And at the same time, this is the time when basically World War II finished, and during the World War II there were a lot of industries which were supplying armament, especially in Germany, and all these armament companies were using products like potassium nitrate and other products which were also a source of fertilizers. So
Exactly.
all these armament companies were converted into fertilizer companies. That is the history.
History of chemical fertilizer.
The books were written, And the books were actually introduced to all the agricultural universities through Rockefeller Foundation. Rockefeller Foundation had a big meeting in New Delhi, and one of my senior professor was also attending that meeting. So I came to know, along with Dr. Swaminathan, and Rockefeller Foundation then introduced the agriculture practices worldwide through the education system which was prevailing in the different countries. That is how the chemical revolution started in India. So they started along with seeds and fertilizer, free for seeds, free fertilizer. Hybrid seed and chemical fertilizers were introduced. So that is just a brief background how the chemical revolution or green revolution started using chemical fertilizers. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm showing this Sir Albert Howard slide, a well-known scientist, botanist, and he came to India to teach actually agriculture to our farmers. And he came to know that the development in India in terms of agriculture is tremendous. So he went back to the British government and told them that the farmers are really working very nice and they have their ancient kind of systems of agriculture. And I don't think so that we should go them and teach them about the modern agriculture, modern science. And he came here, stayed at Indore, and he developed an Indore pattern of compost. He was actually working with our farmers or industry and the universities since 1905 to 1924. And the composting is the subject. Definitely you will come to know, you will learn in the entire course. And he's a father of composting, and he has developed the role of mycorrhiza. Now, after say after 70 years, we have now talking about mycorrhiza. We are talking about microbes, fungi, which was already discussed and developed and used this kind of a technique by Sir Albert Howard long time back. So this is the actually history in terms of now we shall be balancing chemical versus organic agriculture, because we shall be learning all about sustainability in agriculture. So I thought of giving you this reference of Sir Albert Howard. Now, as use of chemical fertilizers, Avinash sir just now told you about the Second World War, and nitrogen was one of the ingredients for making bombs as an explosives. And there was a story, I mean, everyone, you will find in the books that there was a heavy rain that day, and then water went into the storage of nitrogen, and you must be knowing that what nitrogen gets dissolved immediately in water. So nitrogen just went all around the farms and fields, and farmers next day they came to know that the grasses are growing, the crops are growing, and this is how nitrogenous fertilizers came into the mainstream of agriculture. After that, Avinash sir was talking about the industry, because they were actually manufacturing nitrogen for making bombs and for 1942 World War. So after war finished, what is to be done of this fertilizer industry or maybe the ingredient industry? So all this came into our agricultural mainstream, the fertilizers basically. Avinash sir, anything else on this?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Then Green Revolution came in 1965. Dr. Swaminathan, he is a pioneer. Basically, he designed this Green Revolution in India, and its chemical fertilizers, hybrid seeds, pesticides, equipments, then machinery, tractors, everything came inside. And definitely there are some benefits of Green Revolution, because we were actually growing country. And in terms of population wise, we have now almost 3 times after this freedom. Like of 1947, we were just 40 crores or something. Now we are 1.30 crore, 130 crores plus. So it was definitely needed that time. But now after that, we actually forgot to use our ancient agricultural practices in day-to-day agricultural practices. Like, so we just forgot our composting methodology. We just forgot our what you can say, we call it as English word. I forgot the crop rotation practices. We forgot them. Then crop residues going again into the farm and all these things we forgot. And just we are nowadays, we are dependent on chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and hybrid seeds. And now we will have to rethink on this Green Revolution, because the Green Revolution has helped us a lot. But there are also challenges, like we were discussing about the small acreage, getting good yields, and then everybody is talking about food safety. And now after 10-15 years, we are talking about safe food. So all these methodologies, all these terminologies should be learned properly, and we should be able to design this kind of a way forward in agriculture. So in terms of all these pesticides and all these issues, I mean, we need to discuss all this in terms of presentation, and finally you are going to learn about the way forward in sustainability. So this is an important slide in terms of green revolution. This is an ancient agriculture of India. We were completely dependent. I would not say dependent. We were completely based on this farm residue, the cow dung, cow manure, the cow urine, the importance of Panchagavya, importance of Amrut Pani. Palekar sir has designed a fantastic formula for the organic farmers. We call it as Jiva Amrut. So we were using all these practices for many years. And there are a lot of data. There is a lot of data is also available that how many in terms of yields we were getting. And if you ask any farmer nowadays, he will say, I'm not able to get fantastic yields, and my prices of input, or I'm not getting proper price to my whatever I'm growing, and the input cost is growing tremendously. So I'm not able to manage my financial balance sheet in terms of agriculture. So that is the story nowadays. So because of all these issues, we are completely dependent on pesticides, then fertilizers, and all our sustainability is definitely in danger. So we are talking about sustainable agriculture, the way of life. We are not against chemicals, please understand. But whenever it is needed, you should be able to use. But you should use your major resources in terms of agriculture, and then we should move forward. Avinash sir?
Yeah, go ahead. No problem. Basically, I can add is basically all the farming should be considered a way of life. In a way, animals and human beings are connected to agriculture. Just to add to the younger generation who are connected to this webinar, agriculture is the fundamental culture in which our day-to-day activity, right from morning to evening, we are all connected to agriculture, right from our breakfast, lunch, dinner. Besides that, our clothes which we wear, the shoes which we have, the leather material which everything is connected to agriculture. So if you think in the hindsight, this is the way of living also. Now, what we need to look at it is from the student's perspective is how it can be converted into a business perspective also. Students have to see agriculture, business point of view also. So I've seen your syllabus from the university, and we will discuss it later on also about it. But there should be some emphasis which should be given on the economics of agriculture. Each and every student should know his farm economics also. If he comes from agriculture background, how much kgs, how many tons of produce his farm is producing, how much is the income which is being generated, so that they get charged up when they are studying also in the college. So that will help. And what I want to add also on top of it is the number of industries which are connected to our agriculture is immense. Any topic you pick up in agriculture, it can lead to a career in itself. I just wanted to emphasize upon it because a young student should not get bored with the presentation because they're yet to study it. So they should get encouraged to understand that agriculture is the thing of the future. In the coming years, we will be noticing the benefit of it. Agriculture education will help you a lot. Varve sir, you can take up now.
Why we are showing this presentation to you, because we wanted to give you the brief idea about the chemical fertigation, this green revolution, how pesticides, fertilizers came into this particular industry, and what you are going to learn from the syllabus is completely different. So we thought of giving you some idea or some basic knowledge of agriculture. You must be knowing everything, I'm not saying that, but the idea was to give you some points or some information about what went wrong before that. So we thought of giving you this presentation. So excessive use of chemical inputs cause long-term damage to the soil. See, soil is a basically living thing. There are a lot of microbes, earthworms, protozoa. They are working for us 24/7, and we are just working 7, 8, 10 hours a day. And these living things, they are actually making this soil healthy, making this soil living. So we have to really take care of our soil, which we call it as a Mother Earth. And because of this chemical fertilizers or excessive use of chemical fertilizer, it has damaged a lot. So it's an environment, it's a symbiotic environment. Everybody's dependent on each other. We call it always as Jivo Jivasya Jivanam. live and let live is the eternal principle of life. And because of these all issues, we are facing lots of problems with right from our drinking water to the food stream, which is the mainstream. And we now we are saying there was a time that every country was talking about the food safety, but now we should talk about safe food. All our generations, they are saying that the food should be your medicine, but because of all these issues, our medicine is actually becoming our food, and that is the worrisome situation for the future generations. So we have to really take care about the soil. We have to really take care about the sustainability in terms of financial issues, as well as keeping soil healthy, keeping our environment healthy. That is what I meant about this particular slide. Avinash sir.
Yeah, that's right, sir. So we have touched the topic about soil health also, and I would like to connect this to the participants that human health is directly connected to the health of the soil where we are. So if we are destroying the soil, the produce which comes from that soil, that is all the food grain, the vegetables, the fruits which are coming from that soil, they are having poor nutrition. Now, what I mean by poor nutrition is, we are giving fertilizers in terms of NPK, and some people are also adding some micronutrients in chelated form. But what is happening is the nutrient density in the food is reducing day by day because the microbes are becoming inactive. Our knowledge is very limited in terms of what is happening in the microbiology. The microbiologists, they themselves are saying that they know only 1% of the microbiology of the world. Our body is also full of microbes. One tablespoon is having millions of microbes in it. So what I meant to emphasize is that the overuse of fertilizers, herbicides are basically used for killing the weeds. They are destroying the microbial activity of the soil. As we keep on destroying microbial activity, the microbes which are responsible for providing nutrition to the plant, and that nutrition becomes available to the vegetable or to the fruit, is now becoming depleted. So you can see a fruit, it looks like, okay, it is an apple or an orange or a banana, but we come from a period when we have tasted the banana which was tasting very sweet. Now the bananas taste bland. The oranges don't have the sweetness in it. They are only looking like oranges. Apple doesn't have sweet taste in it anymore. What does it indicate? That the amount of damages we have done to the soil have actually depleted the microbial activity of the soil so much that the total nutrition which is needed for the growth of the plant is in short supply. Now, from that perspective, what is happening is our food is having depleted nutrition. Their energy level has gone down, because of which human beings, animals are falling sick. And when a sick plant is growing in a field, that is the plant which is now attracting the insects, that is attracting the diseases also. So from our agriculturist's job is to make sure that we are actually growing a healthy plant. That is the job of an agriculture student, agriculturist. And to make a healthy plant, the soil also should be healthy. Now we have made the soil sick by applying all these inputs because of our knowledge. And we are not blaming anybody in this. This is the knowledge we have gained. I myself have studied, I'm MSc in agriculture. I've done my master's in agriculture meteorology. And during that period, I studied all this agriculture aspects of fertilizer application, pesticide application. We have been always bombarded with the thought process. You see an insect, you have to kill it. This warfare mentality has been put in our mind all the time, right? From our education system. That is how we have developed ourselves. Now, after my education, I continued practicing agriculture or floriculture for that matter, specifically in the greenhouses, where I've been utilizing the same knowledge, applying heavy amount of fertilizers, heavy amount of pesticide sprays, drenching a lot of fungicides as well as insecticides, nematicides into the soil, killing all the microbial activity in the soil to make it more or less like a sterile environment. And in that sterile environment, we try to grow. And when we grow a crop in such an environment, that crop is always having some or the other problem. It is almost sick, all the time sick. We have to keep on spraying pesticides on it, that is to kill the insects, and fungicides to kill the fungus. That is how years together we have been working. Now this institute I was very impressed when I heard that Institute on Sustainable Agriculture is coming up in India. As I volunteered, and I said, Mr. Bharve also, that we should help them and the students how we can actually tune up their minds. But when you're tuning up, you should know what we have learned wrong and what we should now learn the right way. Because for us, it has been a big unlearning process, or some people say de-learning process, that whatever you have learned, you have to take it off and then put a new chapter on top. So in this process, when Bharve sir was saying that, organic way of growing, but what is it? People talk about it. There are so many proponents of speaking about organic farming. There is Narayana Murthy, there is Tarachand Belji, there is Mr. Sabe from Gujarat, now Mr. Palekar, who has been awarded Padma Shri. He has been a proponent about natural farming. Then Fukuoka, who was talking about also no input agriculture. These all people have been actually doing this work for years together. Everybody has their way of doing it. But what is happening is some of the people who are doing organic farming are also getting confused, because they say which one is the right way. There is no right way in this. The right way, you cannot have one right way. Agriculture, you can have many different ways and can be successful also.
Right.
We are growing roses also. I always say to my colleagues, there is no one way to grow roses successfully. You can grow roses many different ways, and it can be a successful venture. You go to different places in India also, each and every state is having its own diversity. We have different microclimates also. So based on various microclimates, the way to do agriculture can change. The way we manage the crop can change. The way the soils have to be managed also can change. Some people are having cows, some can have buffaloes, some can have goats, some can have camels. These are animals which are needed in the agriculture. The crop pattern also changes in different parts of India. So there is no one way. So there is the one way which Mr. Bharve was saying is a natural way of farming, where we have to, basically it's going to be a learning process for the student, and the people who are actually doing agriculture, they know that the chemical way of farming has not been the best way. Now we all have to slowly change into the natural farming way. We are not calling it organic farming, because organic also has a different definition. Natural farming has a different definition. Then there is so many different philosophies which have come up, but we all have to find our own way also. But use that knowledge, put it in practice, and you'll find a way to grow crops. What we have missed out in agriculture has been crop rotation. In this whole green revolution, what has happened is we have gone for monoculture. Places like Punjab, which was known for wheat cultivation, started growing rice. Now, why they started growing rice? One of our very good friend, Mr. Ashish Vele, he always says this has only come because of the PDS system, public distribution system, in which the government gave a minimum support price to certain crops. That was wheat was there, rice was there in it, and because of which all the farmers started growing it, because they had a guarantee that their produce will be bought at a fixed price. Now, Punjab is not known for rice. They should not be growing rice. Rice is a South Indian product. Kerala, it's in the coastal region. Tamil Nadu, Andhra area is okay for rice. And then Maharashtra, Konkan area is known for rice. Why people are growing wheat, rice in Punjab? They've spoiled it. That is again monoculture, where they are growing wheat followed by rice, or no, sorry, rice in Rabi, and rice in Kharif, and then wheat in Rabi. Now, what is happening is we are growing monocot after monocot. That is the fundamental mistake which we have been doing in agriculture. Traditionally, even when we studied agriculture, we used to always have either intercropping or crop rotation. The crop rotation was always the crop rotation of a dicotyledon and a monocotyledon. That is also disappeared. People used to have one row of a monocrop and 2 or 3 rows of a dicot plantation. That used to be a normal way of doing agriculture traditionally. But with large-scale plantation, monoculture has become a common thing, and which is depleting the soil. Depletion of the soil means the humus level of the soil. Humus level, when we say about humus, many of the young participants might find it new, but the humus is the life of the soil, and that is getting depleted. When we had independence, our humus level or our organic carbon level in the soil was in the range of 2.5 to 2%. Now we are talking of a range of 0.2, 0.3%, of organic carbon in our soil. Organic carbon is direct nutrition for microbes. We have depleted it with our practices of agriculture. So we know what we have done wrong. Now we have to find a way how we can make it better so that this generation now and the future generations will be able to get healthy soil, will get nutritious food. The nutritious food means the food is the fundamental thing. Now I want to tell the young generation here, try to think. Most of our young students, when we ask them what you want to do, they will say, no, I want to become an engineer, I want to become a doctor. Try to understand, what is doctor doing? Doctor is actually taking care of a sick person. And the sickness, why is it coming? We should not, we should not have the sickness. Sickness is coming because of agriculture has gone wrong. Because our food has gone wrong. Because the food has become bad, that is why we are falling sick. Earlier, in villages, we used to hardly have one doctor, or between one zilla, we used to have one doctor. And that doctor would give some kind of a red medicine, and people would be happy and they would be comfortable with that. It was just, in English, they call it a placebo effect, that you take a medicine or take an injection, we would think, no, I'll be sick, I'll be healthy. But now there are so many doctors. But actually, agriculture is the fundamental thing where we are the doctors of making the soil healthy. If we make our soil healthy, our crops will be healthy, our food will be nutritious. Once our food becomes nutritious, we will not become sick. So many young people are having acidity problem, young boys and girls having blood pressure problem, diabetes has become a common thing. Young boys and girls are talking about diabetes like it's a common thing. This should not be the case. We are taking tea on the street, we are eating batata vadas and bhajiyas. It is all agriculture based. But what is happening in that is oil is getting contaminated. The oil which we are using is made of cotton seed, and that cotton seed oil is completely detrimental to the human body. We are using that, it is called sarki sa tel, and that is the oil which is being used, and that is detrimental to our health. Our food or the grains which we are growing is also totally contaminated with fertilizers. Now, because of the fertilizers, what is happening? The nutritional value of the food has gone down dramatically. And because of the poor nutrition value, sickness is coming. That is why I want to emphasize to the young generation that this agriculture as a profession is the profession for future. We have to learn what to do with it, what type of way, how we can actually deal with it and earn a decent living also. It should not happen that we are passionate about it and we don't earn money out of it. I'll give you, with your permission, sir, can I talk or it is?
Yeah, go ahead, no problem.
Okay, I'll give you a little example. After basically most of the students join agriculture in other universities to get in for MPSC, UPSC, bank services. I was one of the students like that only when I took over agriculture. And for 4 years, I used to conduct classes also in my university. I used to conduct the MPSC classes. Hello?
Yes, yes.
So,
I can hear you, please.
So what happened during that period, we say basically I started liking agriculture and realized that this science, there are very few people who are actually entering into the core agriculture. And when I used to talk to my university professors also, I felt that there's a very shortage of knowledge which is there in this sector. So I left all my government positions which I got at that time, including the police services or customs and agriculture department, which were government positions, and I left and I started working in core agriculture, thinking that someday I will be able to understand the real agriculture. And it took me a long time. Last 10 years, I've actually understood what is the real agriculture. After working for so many years in chemical farming, then I realized that this is not the way forward. And it took a small incident in my life, which happened in South America, where I saw a 10 hectares, or I would say 25 acres of greenhouse cultivation of rose right in front of my eyes. And since we did not have enough funds at that time because of the global meltdown in 2008 and 2009, that we did not have enough cash flow and we could not support that farm with enough of fertilizers and pesticides, and I could not do anything. Then I realized, how can agriculture be so horrific that if you don't provide fertilizer and pesticide, the farm is completely devastated. It cannot be like that, because the forest is not like that. Forest is growing without any support. God has not created a situation like this. It grows naturally. There is something which we are missing or we have not learned in the university or from our teachers. So that was my quest in, I would say, in 2010-11, I started finding out what is the right way of doing agriculture. And in this process, I was lucky that I met Mr. Subhash Palekar. Then I had interacted with a New Zealand professor called Graham Sage, an American professor called John Kemp, Roy Archuleta, David Brown. These are the people who actually groomed me up, and I'm obliged to them because you can understand that there is in the world many people are actually practicing a different way of agriculture which is not taught in the university. And in that pursuit, I could then I started implementing this. Implementation was not easy, my friends. When we talk about a basic way of doing agriculture with applying so many kgs of NPK fertilizers, spray this pesticide, this fungicide for this insect and disease, and now you say now you cannot do it, you have to do a different way. It's a tough game. The transition is the toughest part of this agriculture movement. And lucky enough, you will be joining a university, a college where they are going to teach you both the things, chemical farming also and sustainable agriculture farming. I have a student in Kenya in my company who has actually done a diploma in sustainable agriculture, and he came to me for internship. And I was looking at his syllabus, and I said, "This is the traditional way of agriculture in India." And then I employed him. He's working with me. He's getting a good salary also, and where I could understand that worldwide this knowledge exists, but this knowledge does not have inputs based. You try to understand when a company is providing an input to a farmer, he's earning money from it. When we are talking about natural farming, there is hardly any input in it. Whatever you are having in your own farm, in your own village, you are using that to grow your farm, your crops. You are only, agriculture is a mechanism in which you can only earn and earn. You have to spend minimum and minimum. So it is one of those that businesses. I always share with my friends here, I say, how can a business where 1 grain of wheat, 1 grain of maize, when we sow it in the soil, if it is able to generate 1,000 in a matter of 3 to 4 months, how can such a business be loss making? That's the fundamental question which we should ask ourselves. 1 eye of sugarcane, which we sow, one eye of sugarcane, if you sow, you are getting hundreds of sugarcane sticks coming out of it. How is it possible? So that is the power of agriculture, that one can become 1,000 in a matter of 3 to 4 months, or one can become 10,000 also in a matter of 1 year also. None of the banks, none of the businesses can have a multiplying factor which we are talking about. Agriculture has this multiplying factor. But something is missing in this whole thing, in the economics of it, which we all are trying to figure out. We don't know the answers yet, but I think so with time to come, we will be having the answers where we can actually put our foot down and say agriculture is the right culture. Over to Barbe sir.
Yeah, I would like to add one more thing, that because you have mentioned about Punjab growing rice, and you must, I don't know, you guys are knowing it, but there is a train called Kansan train which runs from Punjab to Rajasthan, and all the train is completely, it is named Cancer train because of this chemical inputs and pesticides. Majority of the population, they are having lots of issues with cancer, and the only cancer patients, they travel from Punjab to Rajasthan for the treatment, and that is the story today's day, right? So what is the solution? We have discussed about pesticides and all these things. We have we are trying to introduce you all these issues in agriculture, whatever we have faced as of now. And the solution is organic farming, which you are going to learn in this particular syllabus. We have Ayurveda for the human being, as well as we have Vriksha Ayurveda, which is basically for plant kingdom. And Vriksha Ayurveda, Krushi Parashar, they have learned a lot. We have these kind of granthas, and they talk about soil nutrition, astrology, and all this spirituality about this organic farming and all these things. We have gone through all these things, but we are trying to actually utilize these technologies, these techniques of ancient Ayurvedic practices in agriculture, and we are trying to learn all about this. Let me tell you about a small story of my father. My father, Jayant Barve, was actually working with NCL in Pune as a scientist, and he got Parke Award for that particular research, what he was doing actually into the physical chemistry and all this work. Then my grandfather told him to come back to my native place called Vita because we have a land and you can come and start developing the land, work with the farmers, and you can create jobs here in Vita. Why are you wasting your time in Pune? And that was a tough time for him to take a call. In 1976, he came back to Vita, and then he started working in the field of agriculture, and then he started working in the pesticides and fertilizers. He was actually kind of, a consultant for the grape growers. My place is basically grape growing area, Vita and Tasgav and all this area. So he used to visit farmers and give them the consultancy, free consultancy, of course. And he used to sell his pesticides, fertilizers. So one day, one farmer came to meet him, and he told him that there is a lot of issues with the crows and all these birds, because at the time of harvesting, in terms of grapes, I'm talking about, they come and they puncture my bunches. So you give me a fantastic pesticide, and I will spray that particular pesticide on my vineyard, and then I'll be very happy. If suppose one crow or maybe one bird comes in and he eats that particular berry of that grape, and that bird will immediately die. And there is a system in the nature that they come to know that there is a danger, there is some problem, so they will not come and touch my vineyard. So my father gave him a fantastic pesticides, and he told him to spray that on that particular vineyard. But after that, he started thinking about it. He's talking about the birds and they are coming in and touching the bunches and everything. So my father asked him, when are you going to harvest actually? So he said, I'm going to spray this today or maybe tomorrow. And within next couple of days or maybe 4 days down the line, I'm going to harvest the grapes. So my father started thinking about it because he was basically from the science background. So this kind of a poison, the name molecule was cypermethrin. So what will happen to the people? They are going to eat this particular grapes, and he suddenly there is a completely change of his mind, and he stopped selling pesticides, fertilizers, and came into the sustainable agriculture, the way of life, whatever we are talking about, organic farming. And the same story again repeated in terms of my particular this thing also. I was studying in Pune. I've completed my graduation in microbiology. I've done diploma in agriculture, basically horticulture, and I was working with Venkateshwara hatcheries for 2 years. And again, there was again a call that I have to come back to my place, Vita. Then we started with his, whatever he has done the research on, basically a kind of formulation for concentrated organic fertilizer. And we started the industry. And we are really happily doing this work for last almost 23 years. And why I'm trying to tell this whole story to you is because most of the time, the youngsters, the student, they just want to go to Pune or Mumbai or maybe cities like Bangalore and Hyderabad, and they want to work there. But that is not just the life. There is immense potential in villages also, but you need to finalize your way. You need to finalize your way forward, and then you will really have to work on this. Today with me. Hello, can you hear me, Avinash sir?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, in this particular industry with me, more than 250 people are working with me today, and we are very happy. We are doing one project at Ratu, where we are working on organic agriculture. We are working with 600 plus farmers and converting 2,000 acres of land into organic sugarcane cultivation. So this is the basically fundamentally we are talking about the soil, environment, eco-friendly systems of agriculture, helping each other, symbiotic relationship in nature, and all these things. And you will definitely will be very happy to learn in this particular course. Now, when we talk about agriculture, this is the only system. There is a generation of wealth. Majority of the businesses, they are the conversion of wealth. Like Avinash sir was talking about, one seed can get you like 1,000 seeds. So there is a generation. So we are talking about agriculture, and definitely you will learn fantastic things in this particular syllabus. Now, finally, the green revolution has happened in 1965, and again we were discussing about the pluses or at the same time minuses of this particular evergreen green revolution. So what we need for the future generations is long-lasting evergreen revolution. I'm just showing you a small bonsai where you can see a small pot and 100 plus this oranges on that particular healthy plant. So we need to create healthy environment, we need to create healthy soil, and moving forward, we really have to work on the evergreen revolution. Thank you from my side. Avinash sir, anything else?
No, sir. I think so. It's enough for now.
Yeah.
The organizers can have an open session in case they want to ask some questions.
Yes, I will stop sharing my screen and we can have question answers. Thank you very much for patient listening. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Parvez sir and Mukadle sir. Our participants as well as students are fortunate to have great personalities like you as a resource person for this webinar. And then the session is open for the discussion. So if anyone
I
has
have a
it,
question.
yeah, please, please.
My name is Anusha. I am from Pune. I have a basic question. Now we are talking about agriculture and the cost of agriculture has gone up. What is the reason? Where is the bottleneck? I think the production is not a problem, right? Why is the cost up for agriculture?
Sir, can I answer?
Was I audible?
Ma'am, you are audible. Anusha ma'am, you have been properly audible. They have heard you. You have asked a question for why the input cost has gone up, why the cost of production has gone up. Am I right, ma'am?
Yeah, right. That's my question.
Okay. Ma'am,
because we see from one grain we can do thousands of this thing. So the production, basic production is not high. So where is the cost increasing?
Right. Ma'am, this is the fundamental of basically industrial agriculture, where the input suppliers, that is the seed industry, fertilizer industry, the pesticide industry, these are all connected to each other. At the top, these are all companies which are at the pharmaceutical industries are the ones who are controlling the pesticide industry, seed industry, and herbicide industry. Basically, this is all coming from the same platform. Now, what is happening is, if you, this is a full another webinar, like, frankly speaking, but I'm simple to you.
Yeah.
And traditionally, the seeds are supposed to be grown. Basically, people are supposed to grow their grains and keep some seeds for themselves for the next season. And they used to put it in ash and then save it, and even would exchange within the villages. Normally, if you have a seed grain with you, you would give it to your neighboring village farmer, or within your relatives, you can share it also, because it helps into the diversity, the microbiome.
That is how traditionally it was done, if I'm not wrong.
Sorry, ma'am?
That is how it was done traditionally, if I'm not wrong. Now the seed companies have come in, so I think
exactly. So now
that the thing is messed up. Huh?
Seed company has come in, where we have been told that the hybrid seeds are going to give you higher production, but the hybrid seed production program is all generated based on fertilizer application, and so all the manufacturing seed research is being done using a recipe of fertilizers. Now those hybrid seeds only perform when you give fertilizer. When you give fertilizers, you have to give a lot of water also, because when you apply fertilizer to the soil becomes hot, dry, and
cool it down again.
Water retention goes down, so you have to apply a lot of water also. So your resource is also depleted. So what it means is, once you have one input, that is fertilizer, has gone into the soil, then the pesticide industry will also be supported, because once you give fertilizers, what is happening? The plant is becoming nutritionally imperfect. Nutritionally imperfect, I'm saying. It doesn't have the right nutritional balance in it. Once you have a plant that is having improper nutrition, it is attracting insects and pest diseases. Everything is getting attracted to it. Then you have to go and buy again pesticides to spray. That is why the cotton industry, if you look at it, cotton farmers are struggling because of expensive inputs which are going into it. So inputs are generate each and every aspect in agriculture, where the input companies are playing their role, there the cost is going up. Now, if you say you are not going to use fertilizer, you are going to use only cow dung, that input is gone. If you store your own seeds and use your own seeds in your farm, then that input cost is gone. If you're growing your organic way of farming and your pesticide requirement goes down, if all these inputs are gone, you will be having nutritionally healthy food also. Whatever income you generate from that 1 grain into 1,000 grain, all that money is going to come to your pocket, right? That 1,000 grain, sell it into the mandi. You are getting very low price also for it, because sometimes everybody's production comes at the same time, when the prices are dictated by the middlemen, and then the farmer is getting a meager amount of money, and a lot of money has to be given to the input supplier. So that is where the farmers are struggling now.
Thank you so much, sir, for you explained it really well, and I'm happy I'm part of this webinar.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Any other last question?
I would like to talk about
Yes, sir.
whatever